A doctor who is suspended for providing a lethal dose of potassium chloride to a dying patient takes action to regain his right to practice medicine. Dr. Lance Wilson today went to court to appeal his 5-year suspension. ABC 7's Rob Johnson joins us live right now from the newsroom with more on Dr. Wilson's efforts to get back to work. Rob?
Linda, Dr. Wilson's medical license was initially suspended in October of 1998. However, since the decision last month to suspend it for 5 years, he was fired from his job and was unable to get a medical license in North Dakota. Wilson now works in the tree business, but he's filing suit to get his Illinois medical license back, and he hopes that it will help him get his life back on track.
Because this is clotted off, the blood has no place to go. And because it's got no place to go, it backs up like a clogged sink, at which point the neck swells up, and when the neck swells up, the trachea sits right here. The neck swells up and it just crushes the windpipe.
Armed with visual aids, Dr. Lance Wilson, a former cardiologist at Olympia Fields Osteopathic, explained why he gave 69-year-old Henry Taylor a lethal dose of potassium chloride, which ended his life. He insists it was a humane option, his only option.
We're not in the business of torturing patients, and I gave him a medication to relieve his pain and suffering.
Today, Wilson and his attorney Tom Zimmerman filed suit in state court, hoping a judge will give him his license back. They hope that since the state's attorney found no evidence of wrongdoing, Dr. Wilson should be cleared by all parties, including the Illinois Department of Professional Regulation, which suspended him.
X-rays were not reviewed. Medical ethics and codes and various Illinois laws were violated.
Zimmerman points to a section in the American Medical Association's Ethics Handbook, which reads in part, physicians have an obligation to relieve pain and suffering of dying patients in their care, even though it may foreseeably hasten death. Over at Professional Regulation, the concern is that Dr. Wilson did not administer a larger dose of morphine, but instead what they consider a deadly dose of potassium chloride. Saying of Dr. Wilson, spokesman Tony Sanders told ABC 7, quote, he acted in a grossly negligent way and an unprofessional way. The doctor disagrees.
I'm looked upon as somebody who committed euthanasia, and that's not what occurred here. This patient met death in the worst way, asphyxiation, and I did my duty to make him as comfortable as possible during that death process.
Wilson could go before a judge within the next month to have this resolved, and Zimmerman tells me that a trip to federal court may be in Dr. Wilson's future to address the issues of lost wages and punitive damages. Live in the newsroom, Rob Johnson, ABC 7 News. Linda?